Hey friend, I hope you're loving the summer throwback playlist. You know, it was so interesting. I was talking to my coach this morning, and I've been working with this same coach for, has it been 4 years now? Yeah, I think just over 4 years. And I've come so far. I'm not the same person that I was 4 years ago in life, in business, in my health journey, but we had to go back to a square one conversation today. And I think so often in our culture, we think going back to those basics and the foundational conversations is a setback, or it's like we are going backwards. And I just don't think that's true. I think initially I want to believe that because the inner critic in me tends to, want to always be moving forward and bigger and better. But as my coach so kindly brought me back to realize is that a lot of those foundational conversations, they're foundational for a reason, and coming back to them often is so important. And honestly, that is a big reason why I decided to do this summer throwback playlist, because so many of the conversations that we've had on this podcast have been foundational. And even if you've heard them before, or maybe you're new to the show and you haven't heard them, these are conversations that are worth going back to. So I hope you're loving this series, and I hope it's really bringing you back to some of those foundational empowered eating conversations to just make that foundation you stand on that much stronger. I also hope you're enjoying your summer. It's been a hot one here in New Mexico, but man, I'm collecting the adventures and I'm hoping the same for you. Enjoy as we continue this series, and we will see you back with new episodes coming in September. Cheers, friend. What's up, Fuel Her Awesome friends? We are in the second week of March. How did that happen? I feel like I'm just now getting my bearings in 2023 and starting to feel like, all right, I got this. But I have to tell you guys, so February was a total whirlwind for me. I traveled 3 out of the 4 weeks of February, which is not normal for me. 2 of those were for work. And I have to tell you, on one of those work trips, something crazy happened. So I was at a conference, and for dinner, they had these standing tables, and they had a bunch of different buffet options. And of course, being a foodie, I'm like, give me all the options. So I have a little plate from each of the different areas, and I stand there and I start eating it. And I'm like, wow, this food tastes delicious. It smells good. I'm enjoying the company and the environment. And all of a sudden I realize I have not been mindfully eating for the last probably 8 years since I had my first kiddo. I have been living in this world of chaos. Guys, my family dinners, I really believe in family dinner. It's a part of one of my core values. I don't do it every night, but we try to get it in a couple nights a week. And I'm going to tell you something. Those family dinners are not this Pinterest perfect event. I am playing more referee than mom at that point with my boys. I'm like, sit down, quit leaning back on the chair, sit down, take a bite, don't hit your brother. No, you can't talk potty talk at the table. I mean, it's really chaotic at dinner time. And then outside of that, I'm working. And to be honest with you guys, I answer all my emails on my lunch hour. So I'm eating my food. I mean, it's very normal that I have food on my papers. I got to wash my computer off a lot because I'm usually eating. I live in a world of chaos. And with that, I lost the art of how to eat mindfully. So today I want to talk about how we can return to the art of mindful eating, even when we live in a world of chaos. Because I'm going to tell you something right now, those boys, they are not calming down anytime soon. And so I've got to learn how to eat and be present with my food amidst the chaos. Welcome to the Fuel Her Awesome Show, friend, where we dig into nutrition deeds that are actually helpful and we learn to be nicer to ourselves. I mean, think about it. Those things you say about your body, would you ever say them to your friend? I don't think so. I am so glad you are here. I'm Jess, registered dietitian, juggling mama, work, and wife life amidst all the things. I used to spend an insane amount of energy hating on my body and lost in nutrition, but now I have way too much on my plate. I cannot afford to mistreat my body. And because I have a history of struggling with food, I know I have to be careful with how I approach my health goals. This is why I'm so passionate about empowered eating. Sister, in case you haven't heard it today, you are awesome. And I have resources for you beyond this podcast. Check out jessbrownrd.com and take my body confidence workshop totally free. All right, grab a cup of coffee or 2 and let's fuel your awesome with empowered eating. So this topic really came to me in the middle of that dinner because I found there was so much more joy in tasting food, eating it slow, setting my fork down, than I had found in food in a long time. Guys, when I sit down for our family dinners or I eat my lunch over my lunch hour and answer emails at the same time, it becomes a chaotic eating. It's like I am putting the food in my mouth faster than I can swallow. I'm chewing quickly. And I noticed that also leads to some physical discomfort later. Like I feel bloated. And these are the kinds of things that I think have just become more of my normal. And when I got pulled out of my normal at this work conference and was reminded of how pleasant it is to enjoy food, taste food, chew it thoroughly, and how my body reacts so much better to that pace, I thought, I've got to talk about this because one, it's like a little mini pep talk for me because now I'm back in the chaos and I need to be reminded of it. But two, I wanted to share it with y'all. And first and foremost, I hope this episode gives you guys some grace because here I am. Guys, I've been a dietitian I'm almost coming up on 15 years now, but I have to be reminded of this. I do this for a living and I talk about it with people every single day. And I still don't do it well. So this whole idea of mindful eating, if it feels like something that is hard and something that you're not naturally good at, you're not alone. We are in the same club. And so today I just have some quick tips on how we can introduce or reintroduce that mindful eating into our daily life, even when it's super chaotic. Okay, so I have 3 tips for you guys today on how we can return to the art of mindful eating. No matter how much you guys are refereeing at dinner or how many emails you're firing off, you guys can do these in the middle of chaos. I know this because I tested them out last night. Number 1 is to check in with your hunger and your feelings before you start eating. Guys, this is the first step we go through in the empowered eating method where I teach you how to gauge your hunger, how to check in with your hunger. I have a worksheet where you walk through what does hunger actually look like and feel like within my own body. And there's 2 things that are happening here when we do this. Number 1 is within the empowered eating models where we actually decide how much food does my body physiologically need based on that hunger level. And then the other thing that it's doing is it provides a prompt for us to stop, get out of our brain, which is constantly spinning and juggling about a million things at a time. It gets us out of that and into our bodies just to help us be present. Regardless of how hungry you are before you eat, if you take a second to pause and feel that, you are already practicing mindfulness. You're already practicing being present. And that's something that, okay, I know this sounds really simple, but it reminds me of one of my favorite Bob Goff quotes, which is, "What is simple often isn't easy, and what is easy often doesn't last." So just because it's simple here, and I'm saying literally take a time out, just sit there for a second and feel your body. Sounds really simple. It's not easy. I mean, like I said at the beginning, this is something that I have had to remind myself to do and rehearse and go back to practicing because it does not come naturally, especially when we are constantly in the rat race, the hustle. Life is going really, really fast. So step number 1 is to check in with your hunger level before you sit down to eat. Tip number 2 is to chew your food to an applesauce consistency. So actually chewing it all the way through. I want you guys to notice when you eat, how often do you swallow food before it's even chewed all the way? Now there's a few things again that I'm chasing after here. And number 1 is because this slows us down so that our body, our stomach can keep up with the food that we are eating and take it in at a decent pace. And number 2 is when we chew it to an applesauce consistency, we help our digestive system break down that food because we're allowing the digestive process to happen in its entirety. So we think of digestion, I think a lot of us just think of what happens in the gut, but it actually starts in the mouth. We have enzymes in our mouth that begin to break down carbohydrates. And so when we allow food to be in our mouth long enough, chew it long enough, we allow those enzymes to begin their enzymatic work, we've already started that digestive process so that when the food goes down our esophagus into our stomach, it's in the form it needs to be for the rest of our body to take it and do what it needs to do for adequate digestion. So that's step number 2, chew your food to an applesauce consistency. This one was huge for me. When I was sitting at that conference eating my food, I realized when I'm at dinner with my kids, I mean, guys, I don't know if you guys have kids, if they are as crazy as mine, but my boys are nuts and they're bouncing all over and they're yelling and they're talking about farts at the dinner table. And it honestly puts me kind of in this state of tension. Like I can feel my shoulders tightening. I can feel just everything about me getting like tense because they make me a little anxious when they have that much energy. So I notice what happens then is that I don't chew my food completely. It's like because I'm so tense, I'm starting to eat faster and I'm chewing quickly and swallowing fast. So this one was a big deal for me and a good shift to go back to because it changes the entire eating experience. So chewing your food to an applesauce consistency. And when you guys do this, I want you to notice if you feel any changes in bloating that you might experience afterwards. A lot of times that bloating that we feel can be linked to our chewing practices. So pay attention to that. That's some of the biofeedback you guys can look for if you implement that tip. And then tip number 3 is halfway through the meal, I want you guys to take a breath and smell the food. Smell is such a huge component of the eating experience. Some studies show that smell accounts for 80% of taste. So that's why when we lose that smell, we no longer enjoy food like we did when we, didn't have a sinus infection or didn't have allergies. So take a minute halfway through the meal, actually smell the food that you are enjoying. And this is going to do, again, 2 things. Number 1, keeps you connected to the present moment so that you can remain mindful. But number 2, there's also some biology happening here. When we smell the food, we slow down and we trigger that olfactory process. That connects to the brain and amplifies the eating experience, allowing our hormones to balance out the way they need to naturally, the way we want them to naturally. Slowing down altogether allows this entire process to happen. Okay, so I'm going to go over those tips one more time. Again, they're simple, but not necessarily easy. So if you can do one of them, great. If you can work up to all 3, amazing. But I just want you to start to implement these when and where you can, whether you're driving in the car, girlfriend, you can definitely chew your food to an applesauce consistency in the car. It's just going to take some attention. So whether you're driving in the car, you're refereeing family dinner like me, or answering emails on your work break, I want you to try one up to all 3 of these. So that's number 1 was check in with your hunger level before you eat. Number 2, chew your food to an applesauce consistency before you swallow. And number 3, smell your food halfway through the meal. I cannot wait to hear how this helps you guys remain mindful. And truly my hope is that you get more joy out of your eating experience if you implement some of these tips. I know for me, it was a game changer. When I came back from that conference, I've noticed even in the middle of my chaotic refereeing at family dinner, I am able to practice these 3 things and it's changing my experience. And it's not only is it changing how my body reacts to food, it's changing how I react to my boys' energy because, they are who they are and they are rambunctious, but I've got 2 choices. I can fight it or I can learn to roll with it. And these mindful eating tips not only help me with my food journey, but they also help me be a better mom, be a more present mom in that moment. Last night we had family dinner and I was practicing these 3 things. I try to practice what I preach, but it was interesting. I noticed my shoulders weren't as tense. The boys were going crazy as per usual, but I had more energy and space to, instead of react to their energy, I was laughing with them or I'd crack another joke right back at them. It changed the overall experience. And I'll tell you, I had less gas afterwards. I don't know about you guys, this might be way TMI, but I am usually gassy after dinner, and I think a lot of it had to do with my lack of mindfulness in the process. All right, I hope you guys have a beautiful day. Happy mindful eating this week, and I cannot wait to chat with you guys next Monday. Until then, cheers and happy eating. Gosh, I'm so glad you joined me today. If today encouraged you, would you take a minute and encourage me by leaving a review for the show? I read every single one of these reviews, and your words, they mean so much to me. This podcast is here to support you weekly, but it only scratches the surface. For more info on how you can become an empowered eater, grab my free workshop on how to become confident in your body without obsessing over food at jessbrownrd.com. Don't forget to join me right here next Monday, where I cannot wait to fuel your awesome. Cheers, my sweet friend, and happy eating.